Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? That is the least Christian thing to ever ask yourself. 2 parts. First of all, let's say I'm living in a court. I have more money. I'm going to vote for him because I'm going to have more money. Me. That's the problem. You're going to vote for yourself instead of your neighbors. Love thy neighbor as thyself. In this last election, you know who I voted for? Women's rights, voting rights, immigrants' rights. I voted for universal health care, to increase minimum wage, to extend the child tax credit, to tax the rich people, to help small businesses get started, to help people get out of decades of student loan debt. I voted for everybody else knowing that my taxes would go up. Why? Because I'm not a selfish prick. I loved my neighbor as myself. You only love yourself. You are the antithesis of what Jesus stood for. Every election you do the same thing. But he's coming for my guns. That's right. Your personal freedoms. Jesus literally gave up his personal freedom of living for everybody else, and you're not even willing to vote for your neighbor, or women's rights, or voting rights, or trans rights, or gay rights. You only vote for yourself. You call it freedom. It's not. It's selfishness. Love thy neighbor. Gun reform. 40,000 plus people die every year from gun violence, but you won't do a damn thing about it because you're selfish. You think about yourself. When you hear a gun violence, you know what you hear? Oh, they're coming for, the libs are coming for my guns. How do you think that's going to go when you go into heaven? Well, Jesus, I got my guns. I'm a real man. Freedom. I'm a patriot. No, I said love thy neighbor. You cared more about your personal freedoms than loving thy neighbor. You can go down there with Jeffrey Epstein. Are you better off? Are you? You think because you have more money that you're better off? Some of the most kindest, most compassionate people I know are poor because they don't value worldly possessions. You're supposed to build your wealth in heaven where moth and rust don't get to them. Is that correct? Compassion, kindness, empathy, caring. Where is that? Because all I see is you're trans, you're bad, you're gay, you're a sinner, but somehow if you're an adjudicated rapist and a convicted felon and sit on your ass for 3 hours to watch officers get beaten, somehow that person's sent from Jesus. You value that which is of the world. You build your wealth on earth. You cannot serve 2 masters. You cannot live in both light and darkness. You cannot say that I love Jesus and I love my neighbor as thyself, but only vote for a bigger bank account and a piece of metal in the shape of a gun. You are Pharisees. You are cosplay Christians. Every Sunday, it is Halloween for you people. Elijah in the Old Testament lived by the mouth of a creek that was dry because there was a 3-year drought. He was fed by birds. He didn't complain. He didn't moan and groan. Hell, Noah was on a boat for weeks. Didn't complain about the food. I'm named after Paul, formerly Saul of Tarsus. That dude spent the last couple of years in a prison. He didn't complain, but somehow you cosplay Christians, you Pharisees, find a way to be the victim because the price of eggs is just too expensive. Did you ever think that maybe God was testing your lack of faith and showing you that you valued that which is of the world instead of building your wealth up in heaven? But you don't care about that because you never served God. You served the prince of this world. Your God wears orange makeup and sexually assaults women. Your God is the dollar. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It is easier for a rich man to get into heaven. It is easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. And that is true. You are the most selfish people that God has ever created. So when you ask yourself, am I better off? That is the antithesis of what Jesus stood for. Now, maybe one day you'll find Jesus and you'll care about somebody else other than yourself. Because that's what he stood for. That's what a person of faith is. Have a good day.